The next witness.
Hi, hello. Good evening. My name is Ray Damaris. I work for the 99 Restaurants. I'm a director of operations. I am a Rhode Islander. I live in Johnston, Rhode Island. I service restaurants in Rhode Island, but I also service restaurants throughout New England, in addition to New York. So I've seen firsthand, I can answer some of the questions that you asked earlier of how this really affects, when it goes into play in different states. Unfortunately, we had to close 6 restaurants in Connecticut. And the bottom line was it just got too expensive to do business in the state of Connecticut. They pay their bartenders $7 change an hour, and that just doesn't fit into our business model. And I don't really think it matters if it's a Denny's or if it's a Sienna. There's a lot of people that go to Denny's, they're open 24 hours. There's a lot of people that go to Sienna, they're open sometimes, I think, from 4 to 10 at night. So the amount of hours that are available for people to work. So being in the wait staff business, as the gentleman from Sienna and the Luxburger said, was that the average wages for the 99 are $18 per hour to $25, depending on location. And as they said before, it will definitely hurt the restaurant business. I will have to take from the cooks that I pay currently $15 an hour and stop giving them raises that we give them, stop giving them advancements to pay waitresses that are making $18 to $25 an hour. And that's before we pay them the $2.89. And just to go back, I will submit the rest of it in writing, but just to go back as far as there are bad bosses out there in any industry. And we heard a lot about sexual harassment today, and we heard a lot about people not being paid their minimum tip wake up. I could show you right on my phone every Monday, every one of my restaurants, all 105, get a report that says this is what your tip makeup is, this is what's going to be in their checks on this Friday, was there a mistake, was there an error, and that is as simple as just having a payroll company figure that out for you.
Thank you, Mr. Damaris.
Okay.
Any questions, Mr. Damaris? Representative Giarrusso.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I didn't know who you represented, but I was looking for a guy like you, because you're not Capriccios, you're not Trattoria Simpatico, you're not some of these other high-end restaurants. So I was wondering how, if we're drawing any kind of parallels here, haven't been to 99 Restaurant and haven't been to the other higher-end restaurants, there is one thing that I know for sure, is the table turnover is a completely different story. I mean, we might spend the whole night at her restaurant, but we might be in and out of yours in 45 minutes. So how does that, so what are your waitresses and waiters, and what do they typically make per hour? Do you have that data?
Yeah, depending on location, $18 to $25 an hour.
So they just have to wait on, the table turnover is just higher than it would be at Capriccio's.
Yeah, plus they're, I would assume, and I'm just making an assumption, I've worked in fine dining, I've worked as a bartender and a waiter in this great city. I would assume that there's smaller station sizes in a Capriccio's than there are at the 99. They can wait on 5 tables.
Okay. And mine are 4.
And hers are 4. So yes, there's 45 minutes is the average table turn in our restaurant, so they do seat more people through. But it's a misconception that thinks, oh, that place is slammed. You see lines out the door that every restaurant owner is driving Ferraris and that they're rich. The margins are so tight. We are so price sensitive. We can't raise our menu prices, or you won't come to the 99 as often as you do. Or you won't go to Capriccio's at all, because you'll find different dining options. When you go to the supermarket, how much more your grocery bill is compared to what it was before. And then with healthcare costs and everything on top of it, we just can't afford this right now. Every campaign that I've watched last year said we need to add jobs to Rhode Island. We need to add jobs. We cannot take a chance and take jobs away. I don't care what California's doing. I don't care what New York's doing. I care about the state I live in. I care about Rhode Island. And I know that if we implement this, Rhode Island is known for food. There's more restaurants per capita, don't quote me on that, in Rhode Island than there is in any other state. We all know that. If we take that chance and that gamble, we don't know where it's going to lead unemployment to. And for anybody to be sexually harassed in the restaurant business, shame on them for allowing it. Leave and come work for me, because I'm a good guy and I'll treat you well. And I have a 40% turnover, so I'll make sure that they're treated well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Vice Chair Palangio.
Yeah. Their comments were quite interesting because the gentleman who owns Sienna was saying his employees about $20 an hour, and yours is between 18 and 25. Who the 99? Who your clientele? Is it dollar amount annually? I mean, you must the 99. You must have like marketing strategy and who exactly your customers are.
Well, when the Red Sox win, kids eat free, so it's a different clientele there. But no, got to plug in there.
Is it like a blue collar, upper end blue collar guy?
We're a family restaurant, but we also to the power couples out there now. Those 35-year-olds that don't have kids that come in. You know, we have great food selection for everybody.
So the average annual
know?
salary of your customer is, you must know what that is. You just don't want to tell me.
Well,
what is your average customer
the average
earn?
customer family. How about family? It's between $70,000 and $85,000 a year.
So it's upper, I would guess that's upper middle class.
Well, I wouldn't say that's upper middle class for a family anymore. If you try living on $65,000 for a family, it's not
Right,
upper middle class.
and the
anymore.
turnover you said is what, about 45 minutes out on average?
Table turns are 45 minutes average, yes.
Right, and what is the average bill in that 45-minute period? I'm just...
Per person average is $16 per person. Per person. That's our average. And in 1996, it was probably $9. So every time we get a menu price increase, whether we want to or we don't, the servers and bartenders get a raise. Every single time.
So every time price increases on the menu, the servers get an increase?
They get a raise because you're tipping 20% on the total bill. You don't say, hey, last week it was $8, this week it's $9, I'm going to tip them less.
You
tip them more.
Did your restaurant, didn't they close some restaurants in Rhode Island as
Yeah,
well?
I closed 2 restaurants, North Providence and Warwick, a few years back.
And the restaurants that, and I'm not picking on your restaurant, I'm just using it
Sure.
as an example. You think the restaurants that closed in Connecticut was somewhat based on the increase in the minimum wage?
It's too expensive to do business in there. So you can't. You have to do a certain unit volume to survive. You have to do mass and numbers. You know, Capriccio's does numbers, large checks. We have to do it by pushing people through the door consistently and providing the same great service and the same friendly smiles as everybody else. But make no doubt about it, you know, our wait staff works hard. And there's laws in place to say that they can't be doing hourly functions or minimum wage functions for certain amounts of time. Those laws are all in place. If owners choose not to obey those, then you can't punish the rest of us because somebody spent 2 hours carrying kegs. That wouldn't happen in my restaurant.
So,
And if they did, they would be paid for it.
in restaurants that are in perhaps southern Rhode Island and northern Connecticut, is there a price difference in the same items on the menu?
Beverage price. We had to take a beverage price increase, and there's a lot of chains that do take small modifications. But because we're just Northeast Company, we didn't feel like we could take anything but beverage.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Representative Chippendale.
To follow up on Rep. Pelangio's point, I live in Foster. I live about a half a mile from the Connecticut border, and I do frequently eat there. And yes, the prices are higher. And 99 is a restaurant that in Dayville, there is one there.
Killingly, yes.
Killingly,
Yep.
yes. And yes, the prices are universally higher, in even from diners to fine dining, and I can tell you that from experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, all three of you.